have an amazing panel today. We have some amazing guests. I'll let them all introduce themselves, starting with the amazing Pamela.
Awesome. Thanks, Sebastian. Hi, everyone. I'm Pamela. I'm here from Adquadrant. I'm our Associate Director of Client Partners. So I usually work with brands from the inception of starting as a cold start all the way through their growth phase. I've been at Adquadrant for 4 years, so I'm really excited to share some insight here and also hear from some of the other incredible panelists.
Awesome. Thank you, Pamela. Devin, why don't you jump in and give us an intro?
Hi, everyone. My name's Devin. I work for Laura Geller Beauty, specifically on the TikTok shop side of things, and I manage the affiliate program. So excited to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you. Sophia?
Hi, everyone. My name's Sophia. I'm with BK Beauty. I manage everything influencer, affiliate, social commerce for the brand. I've been with the brand for 4.5 years, so pre-TikTok shop days, and have been in the nitty-gritty since the very beginning. So have really seen a lot of the growth and trajectory with the platform. So I'm really excited to be here today and share some of our key takeaways and learnings over the last couple of years.
Awesome. Thank you, Sophia. And last but not least, Jeremy?
I'm Jeremy Fenderson, the VP of Agency Operations here at Modern. We're a performance agency running TikTok Shop and full funnel growth for our portfolio of consumer brands across beauty, fragrance, and a number of other verticals. What really sets us apart is we operate on our own data platform, Modern.ai, which unifies every channel from TikTok to Meta to Amazon. And we use that as a source of truth to tie together insights and connections and really leverage AI to accelerate growth for our brands. Amazing to be here and looking forward to the conversation.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeremy. So today we have a really good mix. We have some absolutely amazing brands. Thank you, Devin and Sophia. And we have some amazing agencies as well, Pamela and Jeremy. Today we're going to be covering a ton of different things, advice for new brands, what the top brands are doing, and you're going to get to hear directly from those brands, creator strategy and scaling, profitability, and then also just what is working right now. As well as some of the challenges that brands are facing right now operating on TikTok Shop. So just jumping straight into it, really talking to those new brands, what is the biggest misconception that brands still have about TikTok Shop? And Pamela, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first one that comes to mind is that a lot of brands still run the concern that TikTok Shop cannibalizes D2C, which absolutely is not true anymore. I think we're getting a little bit past that now that there's so many options to measure that, but I do still see it come up in conversation early on, whereas now we're seeing more than anything, TikTok Shop boosts and has a really strong halo effect onto Shopify, Amazon, all of the other platforms.
And from the brand side, Devin, Sophia, are you guys, obviously you guys are much deeper into the process, but what are you guys hearing and what are you guys feeling on your side?
Yeah, I think on the brand side, I actually, have spoken to quite a few smaller brands who are just starting to get onto TikTok Shop recently. Like people are always asking me lots of questions. Everyone wants to know about TikTok Shop. But I think the biggest misconception is that people treat it just like another e-com site. They throw some listings up, they try to put ads behind it, they try to optimize their listings, but they're really missing the creator piece of it. And that creators, it's a discovery platform and it's creator driven. And so I think the biggest misconception and biggest mistake new brands make is just treating it like another e-com platform.
I absolutely agree. And the thing for us is Laura Geller is a 40 and up demographic if you're unfamiliar with the brand. And going on to TikTok Shop, a lot of people were saying that, TikTok Shop's not the platform for Laura Geller since predominantly people would think that our demographic is on Facebook instead, but we have been proven to see that is not the case. There is, of course, Gen Z on TikTok, but there is a lot of the mature audience on TikTok as well. Some of our best videos or most viral content has been based around mature skin concepts, which has been really awesome to see.
Yeah,
Amazing.
totally agree. I think our customer base is very similar with Laura Geller, which is really cool to see. But a lot of our demographic is over 40 on TikTok as well.
Yeah, I'd also agree. I would think that the biggest driver is really operational when it comes to TikTok Shop. Listing products or just running ads are all components to an overall strategy. If you have your operation in place, for example, one of our brands is shipping over 1,000 samples a month, right? It's a creative demand driver, and you have to have each of those components in place. before you ever send a sample, before you ever think about running ads, you have to have your team in place to understand how you're tracking creators, how many samples you're going to send, and then amplifying with paid. And then taking a step back, knowing that it's not just a silo, it's an ecosystem right across Amazon, Meta, TikTok, your Shopify. Everything you do within TikTok is also a discovery engine that drives the rest of your business. So it isn't just TikTok Shop, it's your entire business. You need to understand each of those different points that influence your growth.
And where should brands be starting out on TikTok Shop?
I think to piggyback off of what Jeremy said, definitely operationally, I think a big mistake we see is not being prepared for how quickly TikTok can take off. All it takes is one video, and if you're not prepared to fulfill the orders that come through in 3 days, if you're not prepared to take on any negative reviews and respond back, things like that, it's really quick that operationally you can fall into a hole that's really hard to get out of. So I think if I were launching a brand today, where I would start would be getting operations in place, testing and testing and testing orders, making sure we can handle at volume before we even go into starting to sample. Want to make sure that we have the basics down because that is something that can become really hard to manage really quickly.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Pamela. I think operations is something that a lot of brands like don't pay attention to right off the bat, or it's like an afterthought, especially when it comes to creators, because it's so creative, like it's so creator driven, and you're sending so many samples right out of the gate. It's if you don't have the proper framework in place to retain your creators, then you're just spraying and praying. You're not, those are just going into the wind, and there's nothing in place to retain them. And so that I think is usually my biggest piece of advice when these brands are like coming to me and they're like, oh, we really want to launch, like we're sending all these samples and we're not seeing anything. And I'm like, okay, well, are you activating your creators? Are you following up with them? Are you briefing them? Are you retaining them? Like, what does that look like? And so, yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying.
I would say you want to start off with the intelligence in addition to what both Sophia and Pam are saying. It's looking at where you are in the market today, who your target customer is, and then mapping out the next 6, 8, 12 months in terms of what you want good to look like. We call it kind of that North Star piece. So you're looking to generate $1 million, 5 million, 10 million, and then reverse engineering back into exactly what the ladies are saying. If you broke it down into a playbook, it will be operations, then creators, then content, then advertising in a sequence, not a ranked fashion, right? But if you follow those steps, map that back to where you want to be. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. I love that. Love that thing. But you want to know what good looks like so you can continue to modify your roadmap to get there. But start first, not by reinventing the wheel, but by looking at what everybody else is doing in your category or a similar category, finding out what that goal is, and then map the playbook and just execute day over day.
I completely
Awesome.
agree with that. We had I mean, I joined the team last May, and when I started, we had a TikTok shop presence, but there was nothing really behind it fueling it. So when I joined, that's really when we kicked off the Discord page, and then we also created a Lark group chat. And from there, we're able to create a sense of community with our affiliates. So we're not just sending them a sample and hoping for a one-off post. We were actually answering any questions and concerns they had, communicating with them, and actually giving them more support. So not only are they getting the sample, but now they're posting at a cadence, and we're able to create L1 influencers to now be L3 plus creators, which was insane for us to see because we really built these creators up. And now they're posting on a, committed cadence, and that's how you really grow as a brand as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think our biggest wins were when we started putting tools in place to retain creators and educate them. The LARC groups are super helpful. Creators love that, especially like you were saying, Devin, the L1 and L2 creators, I think is where a lot of opportunity lies. They just need a little bit more help in getting there to L3 plus, but they're the most eager to learn. They're the ones who are going to be the most loyal to your brand. They just need a little bit of guidance on content and just education around the product, really educating them about the product price point, especially for us. Our product is a little bit of a higher price point. And L1, L2 creators tend to be buy now, on sale, like that. they're not really educating to the product. So that's where we've seen a lot of growth is really just kind of nurturing those L1, L2 creators and giving them a direct tie into the brand where they feel like they have a direct line of communication to our team and they are comfortable giving feedback, asking questions, and it's not just like a transactional relationship.
Right. And just backing up one quick second, I think there's a question in the chat just about L1, L2, L3, what that actually means. So these are essentially just rankings for creators, right? So
Right.
L1 is any creator who's doing between $0 and $5,000 per month in revenue. L2 being 5 to 25,000, then L3 plus, which is generally kind of what most traditional brands go after, is that 25K plus per month mark. And I think what's great about what Devin and Sophia are saying is that they're actually looking to incubate those L1s, those L2s, and build them up kind of with the brand. I'd love to hear some of like the actual tactics and ways that you are, actually making that Discord engaging and making that Lark group engaging. Because I think a lot of the time brands will build community and it sounds amazing, but then the execution actually fails and they end up kind of being just dead channels.
I mean, I would say for our Discord group, we have it as like a one-stop shop for everything. So if they want to see product briefs, they can go to our Discord and see it there. If they want to chat among other Laura Geller creators, they can go to a chat where they can speak to each other there. If they want to speak directly to us, there's a place for that. Spark codes, where to get set up with live flash sales. There's really a channel in our Discord for everything. And I think that's been awesome because creators now know to go right to our Geller Care section if they have a question for us. And then we'll see like a repeat in opinions or even problems. And then we can even fix it from there too, which has been awesome, or even take suggestions. We've also been doing a ton of webinars. Right now we're doing them on like a quarterly basis. And there they really feel seen and a part of the brand and they're able to talk to us face to face, which has been amazing.
I think
Yeah.
on that same note, sorry, Sophia, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Yeah, for sure.
I was just going to say same similar of what we run in our Discord is they really start to build a community amongst themselves when they're having conversations about what's working, which it's really nice that we're able to help facilitate that. But I think on top of that, it's also a great place to get creators just excited about the brand over and over with contests is a big thing we do where we run different contests targeted on specific products, for example, and the top 3 creators, whether it's how many videos they post, GMV driven, get different rewards, whether it's money, etc., commission boosts. On top of that, it's also the first place that we announce new product releases. I think it's really important that our creators of communities feel like they work with us. And when we're launching new things, they should be the first ones to know to stay excited about the brand.
Pam hit
Yeah.
up a very interesting note as well, which is looking at engaging the creators in a way that aligns with how they're performing, right? You have creators that perform at different levels. The 80-20 rule may come into play where 80% of your GMV is coming from that top 20%. For us, it is also about calibrating our efforts to that performance, knowing who our top creators are and engaging them in a way that gets them excited, puts them ahead of that, but also leveraging the intel from what they're doing to help the rest of our creators. So it's a tide that lifts all ships, right? What are the top performing hooks? What are the top performing angles? And then also a recurring theme I'm really thinking about is evolving your view of your target avatar, right? We all step into a strategy and we think it's women between 35 and 54, but who's actually buying the product shows up in the data. So there's this kind of living and breathing development of your avatar based off of who your creators are, who's resonating in terms of buying, and creating that feedback loop. So you're always speaking to your audience and finding net new customers, and the creators play a major role in that. So data aligned with how you engage creators, to me, seems to be the unlock.
Yeah, going back to the group chats, or like the group chats, it's still a work in progress for us. I haven't quite nailed down exactly how I want that to look. For context, like our team is very small. So right now I'm the only one on the TikTok shop side, specifically with affiliates. But I'm still like very, very tied in. On our Lark chats right now, I kind of have them tiered off because L1, L2 creators, they need a little bit more education focus around the products. Not to say that all of your creators don't need that, but it's just like a little bit more on the content side. And so we have those tiered off. off. Maybe they'll receive more invitations to like more frequent webinars, a lot more product briefs, a lot more check-ins as far as here's what's working, here's what's not working. And then we have our L3 Plus creator group. They're getting, contests. We're running contests in there. They might be eligible for trips, that kind of thing. And then I have my like cream of the crop top 10 affiliates that are really driving the most sales for us. And those are the ones I'm like on a texting basis with. When we have a new launch or we have an event coming up, we have a webinar, anything like that. And it's just, and those are the creators I'm also tapping as well for like, what's your feedback on this? We're thinking about doing this. Like, what do you guys think about that? But really just like building that relationship with them.
Really treating them like more as partners than
Yes,
just kind of
absolutely.
affiliates.
We actually just hosted our first creator trip last week, and it was with TikTok Shop creators. We flew in our five top TikTok Shop creators, and by top creators, I looked at the GMV they're driving, but also like the brand loyalty, how frequently they post about us, how long they've been talking about us, and really narrowed it down to a really intimate group. And it was a huge success. We had no expectations tied to that trip other than relationship building and retention. Those are people that we want to continue to talk about us for another 5 years, 10 years, and forever. But it was just a lot of really open conversation about like what they're wanting to see on the platform. And it was just a really safe space for them to give feedback to us as a brand about how they prefer to partner with brands. And it was really valuable and definitely something we're going to get into a pattern of doing on a more regular cadence.
And what kind of feedback were you getting from them? Like what were
Yeah.
they looking for from you?
Yeah, so I obviously we've been dabbling a little bit more in contests like Pamela mentioned, and I wanted to hear like what's appealing to you and what makes it feel like a transactional relationship. Like how can we structure this specifically for like thinking back to when you were L2, L3 before you were L5, L6 creator. What was appealing to you to like work with a brand? Was it post this many videos and you get to meet the brand and go on a trip, or do you want like a cash amount? Like what's appealing there, and all of it came back with like every single one of them that they want a relationship with the brand. They want to jump on a webinar with our founder. They want FaceTime with the people in the brand, which is something we already knew, but just having that solidified was really, really valuable. But also hearing like the products that are winning for them, like they talked a lot about bundling and like how well bundling works for them. I know Laura Geller leans into bundling pretty heavily. We're brushes only right now, but we're going to be moving into the color space pretty soon. And that's something we had been thinking about is how to bundle products together, specifically when they're more, excuse me, a more prestige price point. And so just getting that feedback from our affiliates was really, really helpful.
So they weren't scared off by the higher price point. They were actually excited about it.
Yeah, they were, and we were very transparent with them. Like, here's what we're launching. Like, they got a first look. No one else has seen it. Here's what we're launching. Here's the price point. Discounting capabilities. Like, they're not going to be as flexible as like our brushes. And so, like, here's what we're thinking of, and like, how does that sound to you? And they were all really excited about it, and giving us like ideas of, oh, you should try bundling with this. Like, try to keep it around like this price point. Here's another bundle that moves really well for me. And so they were just like excited. Like they want to grow with the brand. When the brand wins, the creator wins and vice versa. And so it was really valuable time for us.
We actually had this one creator. She goes live all the time promoting our products, and she said she loved three products, but as she was on live, she kept seeing people requesting that those three products she loved would be put in a bundle, and she actually loved to use these three products together as well. So we listened, we made this bundle, and it went so viral on TikTok. We ended up launching it on .com as well, and it still is one of our best products. So really taking into consideration feedback from creators can go a long way.
For sure.
Wow. I mean, that's really awesome. And was there any, I see a bunch of questions in the chat. Was there any content that came out of the trip, Sophia?
Yeah, so a lot of the content that came out of the trip was just like vlog day in my life kind of style of content. Absolutely no pressure to post. And then they came by our headquarters and they wanted to film content with like our newest launch. We had just launched a new brush bag that day, and they were like they wanted to film it in our headquarters, which was really cool to see. It was funny because in that trip we got feedback from them that they had gone on a trip to Korea with another brand. I'm not going to say who, but it was very like they didn't tell them that there were going to be content expectations around the trip, and then they got there and were completely blindsided and just kind of discouraged that it felt like the brand was taking advantage of them, and they didn't really get to build a relationship with the brand as much as the brand just wanted videos out of them, and that's not what they were there for. But for us, we had zero expectations tied to it, and we saw probably 10 videos per creator, which is fantastic. And beyond that, it expands to another brand for some reason launches a brush that maybe looks exactly like ours. Maybe they're not going to promote that brand because they're loyal to us,
Hmm.
or we have a campaign we're participating in and they're going to remember us, especially like beauty's so competitive. Just anything you can do to stay top of mind for your top affiliates is really valuable.
Yeah, 100%. And we will have dedicated time for questions at the end. So please save your questions if you do have, and then send them at the end. We will have some dedicated time. I know there will be a lot of questions. I would love to know from everyone, working with those L1 and L2s, I think that's where a lot of brands have to start out on TikTok Shop. How do you actually find the winners, first of all? So how do you figure out who you should be outreaching to? But then how do you motivate them and kind of like build those relationships to actually get them to that L3 point?
I'm trying to think about it too. I'm like, bring this in a package it. For us, so obviously I've been with BK Beauty for a long time. So I've seen every stage of TikTok Shop so far. Early days, it was very manual, finding creators that were a good fit for us, who are educating their audiences, who have quality content. That's who we were looking for. And now with more automated tools, we actually use Yuka, which I've never used Cruva before, but seems pretty familiar or very similar. But I'm able to look and see like the other top brands in the category and what creators are talking about them, and then kind of going through and finding creators that there might be an opportunity to work with them. Just like we're looking at like adjacent beauty brands, right? We're not looking at brands that are identical. Obviously, there might be some loyalty there. So we're looking at any potential overlap. We're kind of going a little bit deeper. If you're a new brand getting onto the platform, maybe not a well-known brand, then outside of sending like automated sample requests and target collab invites, sending a personalized email goes a long way as to cut through the noise. A DM gets lost in the TikTok messages. An automated email looks spammy. If you find people that you truly see that could be like winners for your brand, then going out of your way to cut through all of the noise in their inbox, I think is a great way to start kind of cutting through in the early stages before you're able to start scaling. And I will say, like, creators pay attention. They kind of live in these pods. Like even the creators we brought on the trip, to my knowledge, they weren't friends, but they all they were virtual friends. Like they all run in the same circles, they all know the same people. And so you get a handful of creators talking about your products, and it's just kind of a halo effect after that of other creators catching on, like, oh, okay, Michelle was talking about that. And I also saw her talk about that. And she was talking about that too. Let me request a sample. And then it can kind of start to pick up from there.
I think we have a similar process, like really just looking at product adjacent, what they're posting, making sure that their content supports the overall brand message in terms of ethically whatever it follows that suit. But I think on top of that, when we're looking at specific metrics that we can look at, we do use Cruva, and a big thing that we look at the beginning is post rate. I think it's really important that knowing you need to be relatively lean at the beginning when you're sampling before you're getting revenue back, it's important to make sure that you are sampling to creators who are actually going to post. So I think we use Cruva's AI search feature to find a lot of the creators that we work with at the very beginning. A good example I can think of is we use this feature for a pet brand we work with to basically just go through and find videos of people that were posting dogs. They didn't have to be pet creators, but they had dogs in their content. That's something we can use Cruva for. And then from there, going to their post rate and making sure it's above that 90% mark that they're actually going to get us our money back so that we don't start bleeding ourselves dry at the very beginning with sampling and not getting results back.
To
Yeah,
piggyback, oh, go
I
ahead.
think, oh, sorry. I also think another mistake I see a lot of brands make in the early days is turning on auto approve samples. Like I personally am anti auto approved. Even today, like BK Beauty is sending out several thousand samples a month, and I still manually approve them. I have some bulk. I have some bulk filters in place, but for the most part, I'm seeing every single account that comes across. That allows me to just have a high level of visibility if there's a really standout creator that's requesting a product and it's like, oh, I want to make sure I approve their sample, but also email them and just like send an even more personalized follow-up. But also there's a lot of creators that might on paper be driving a lot of sales, but you go to their account, it's very poor quality, it's AI, which if you're doing that at scale can get really expensive when you're factoring in product costs, shipping costs, it's getting pumped into your GMV max, and now you're running this before you catch it and pull it out. And if you're doing that at scale, it can get really expensive. So I'm a big fan of manual approval personally.
So I think
We
I
do
was
the same here at Laura Geller too.
That's good to hear. I was like, surely these other brands are not using auto approval, and TikTok pushes for that because they're, volume, volume, volume. And yes, it is a volume in a numbers game, but you also have to look at quality. And
Absolutely.
TikTok is huge for us, and we really lean in, but it's not our only channel. And so there is, we're still trying to maintain some brand integrity there and not having a bunch of AI creators creating with our products.
Manual approval has been honestly what we've been doing since the beginning. But on top of that, we started using Cruva, and it's been so amazing because you can actually select a target plan you've sent out and then review all the samples that came in through that target plan, which was really cool. And then we actually set up automations. So you can put in like an if then feature on there. And it basically says like, if they received a sample of this product and they have overdue content, you can send them an automated message, which is amazing. And that's been huge for us for getting more content in as well.
I
Yeah,
think
we
I
do
will break
that.
your question kind of down into I'm sorry, go ahead before I go.
Oh, I was gonna say we do the same thing on Yuka as well. Like we definitely have like reactivation and re-engagement tools in place. Because sometimes creators are requesting hundreds of samples a month and they forget about yours, to be
Mhm.
honest. So if you're not in there reminding them, they may not post about you.
I would really break down that question in kind of speed of of intelligence and then access to creators and then the data on the other side of that, right? Like I want to give y'all some gems you can use like right now. I'll be looking at opening up your Claude desktop, connecting to Cruva via the MCP, and then scanning for the creators based off the criteria you want, and then looking at, hey, they've generated a certain amount of GMV, but that's what they've done for other products in the past, which goes back to quality. So I would first be ranking them by what their potential is to drive GMV for you, but then on the back end, 2, 4, 6 weeks out from actually deploying content, what are they generating most recently for your brand, and then scoring them and engaging them in that way. It has been made a lot easier 2 years, 3 years past us having to do it manually to leverage AI and the tools we have today to accelerate this process. So it is driving between the speed that we have today, the quantity of creators you need to go after, and the fact that you can have all this data now that used to be manual. So I would definitely be using those tools. Everybody has access to them now. And it's more a game of knowing who you want to speak with, making sure they're driving GMV for your brand, and then leveling up the engagement with them.
Mhm.
Amazing. Yeah. I appreciate that we have some happy customers here. And then also I want to we touched on it a little bit there, Sophia, but profitability getting, maybe a little bit harder and harder on TikTok Shop. I want to hear how you guys are thinking about it on the brand side, and then also how you guys are seeing it on the agency side, Pam and Jeremy.
Yeah, on the brand side, we're paying very close attention to it. Obviously, you have seen like the referral fees, the smart promotion fees, the shipping costs, the free shipping thresholds, the campaign fees, um, GMV max. There's a lot layered in there. And so we're kind of commissions. Commissions is another huge one, right? So we're sitting at 15% today. We'll go up to 20% for target collab invitations and certain creators, or if we're really, really trying to push a product. But early days, we were sitting 25-30% when we were really trying to get our foot in the door and be competitive, and before all the extra fees were layered in. Um, we basically treat them like levers. Really, the biggest levers that we're playing around with are discounting and affiliate commission. And so if we're launching a new product, we might lean a little bit more heavily into affiliate commission to get creators talking about it. With obviously this needs to be communicated to the creator out of the gate. We're offering this commission for X amount of days exclusive. Don't ever set a commission and then bring it back down. Creators, like without communicating to creators, creators hate that, and feel very blindsided. But after, X amount of days, we'll bring that back down once we feel like we've had a lot of healthy content come in, and then we might start playing around with discounting. So if people are seeing the product and maybe have intent to buy but haven't really pulled the trigger, then now we're layering in a little bit of a discount as a for a customer incentive. So those are the two biggest levers we're playing around with, in addition to our GMV max ROAS targets, which I don't have specific numbers about to share about that today, but yeah.
In terms of commission costs, we actually created an affiliate tiered system where we have three different pools. So as creators earn more in GMV, they can hit certain GMV thresholds, and that's going to get them a boost in commission. So it goes from 15% to 20 to 25, and our top, we call them golden gals, they're earning 25% commission, which is really nice because they get really into it. They strive to hit that 25% commission every month. So not only is it encouraging them to post more, but we're also saving costs. So now only our top drivers are making that top GMV, as in maybe more L1s and L2s are getting the 15% commission. That's helped us save on costs a ton.
I think we're following similar on the agency side with the brands we work with doing tiered commissions. I think the biggest way that we structure and make sure that we stay profitable is before you even launch the store, before you start sampling, is building it out as its own P&L, I think is really important. Knowing there's so many fees, and we do this on a per product basis, which I think has made a lot of sense. We've learned that over time so that you can really dive in, say, how much is it costing you to make each product? Then you bake in commissions, then you bake in ads, and then you bake in the 6% referral fee. And so then you come out with a calculator where at the start of any point, you can go in and plug in, I want to do a 10% discount, and by product, then you can monitor if that puts you in the red or not. I think the biggest thing is just knowing what you can do, baking in discounting and commissions from the very beginning, and always go into it with the expectation that TikTok can and will change their fees at any point. So going in conservatively and knowing that you might have to restructure.
I 100% agree with that, and I like this group, so we're gonna get deep for a minute. When we look at TikTok Shop, that's a siloed platform, but if you're running a business across Shopify, retail, Amazon, and so on, you definitely want to control for the cost. And I agree with everything the ladies have said here so far, but you also want to look at in terms of how you're repurposing that content into meta ads. What does that mean from YouTube? And you get this holistic impact across your entire business. So we end up being able to over index on maybe higher commissions for creators because we've actually repurposed that across six figures in ad spend to this top creator, as well as having a dedicated relationship with that creator. So we see the value above and beyond what TikTok is attributing, and that ends up being a competitive edge for us, right? You may be thinking, man, 22% commission or 12% commission, whatever makes you feel comfortable for this creator is a lot, plus the fee and so on and so forth. But if you look at how that creator has contributed to your performance across your business, it changes the conversation. So I would invite you all to start with having reasonable commission structures for your creators, but very quickly start to play chess with what does that mean when you take those 15 videos and you deploy them on Meta? Like, what does that mean when you take those same videos and you deploy them against your landing pages for increased conversion rates? So there's different games to play here. Start with being sensible with commissions, but start to zoom out and see how that creator is impacting your entire business and double down where it works.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that you touched on pulling the content to Meta as well. Some of our best performing Meta ads have come from TikTok. They're completely unscripted, they're real, and they perform. So
I think talking about using commissions as a lever, like Jeremy said, you also don't have to do it indefinitely. And what I mean by that is if you don't feel like you can sustain a 25% commission, what you might be able to sustain is a baseline 20 commission. And then for your very top creator, giving them the incentive, post 20 videos over the next 30 days and you get a 2% boost for 60 days. So I think it's getting creative with what you reasonably can do, and don't think that just because you can't sustain 25% commission across the board that you can't do it for 5 or 6 top tier creators.
Good. Another thing I wanted to mention, and I don't think anyone else touched on, is we really lean into a handful of hero SKUs on the platform. Our entire platform of 70 plus products is on TikTok Shop, but we're really only leaned into maybe five heroes at a time. We have, maybe 10 to 15 hero products, but at a given time, we're really focusing all of our energy and attention on a portfolio of five. And we will get sometimes a little bit aggressive with commissions when we're attempting to incubate hero products to get creators talking about it. Yeah, that's something that we have seen from day one, just really win on TikTok. When you're focusing your efforts across the affiliate side, you're giving them something to niche down on and really give attention to a smaller subset of products. The in-house creative side, the ad side, I think that it works really well for us.
And I would
Amazing.
think unlock as well is don't be afraid to have a dedicated budget to pay creators above and beyond the $100 or $200 that your competitors are. This might be $500, this might be $1,000, but make sure it backs into the revenue that they're driving for your business. When you're able to develop a relationship with a top creator, you might only have three, and you're driving six figures of ad spend and the ROI behind that. The way I want to give you guys a way to create a competitive advantage, the way that you eat your competitors' lunch, let's just be honest with it, is that you have a better relationship that is a higher ROI for both you and the creator that other people can't match. And that may mean a dedicated budget above the commission structure that aligns with your business's overall profitability. You might be paying a creator $3,000 a month, but the GMV and revenue they're driving for the business makes it a no-brainer. You'll do it 7 days a week and twice on Sundays. So think about that when you have those top creators in front of you. Are you inching up by a couple percent, or are you making this a real relationship that you can scale your brand on?
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing from everyone is that like those top creators are really, really where you can make that ROI back. And like there's the sampling cost, of course, is going to be a high cost, and the commission cost. But on those those top end creators, you're going to be able to leverage them on other platforms as well. I want to jump into a quick lightning round before we do get into some questions. I do want to leave time. We're going to do two questions. I want to get like one sentence answer from everyone really quick. What is one TikTok shop prediction that you have in the next 12 months? Let's start with you, Pam.
I would say that probably similar to what everyone else here would say, creator retention's going to blow everything else out of the water. More creators are looking for flat fees, and getting them on retainer is going to be really important.
Devin?
I would say that everything's going to become more data driven now that we have platforms like Cruva that's going to take AI and be able to pull top hooks and exact formulas for winning videos. I think everything's going to be super driven by data, and we're going to be able to convert better that way.
Sophia?
Yeah. Mine would be that the brands who are prioritizing relationships and retentions with creators are the ones who are going to be winning on the platform.
Jeremy?
I'd have to double down on data from the sense of connecting your entire business into how TikTok Shop's performing, and you'll be able to leapfrog your competitors who are doing it manually. Figure out a way to centralize your data and layer on insights. You'll be ahead of the game.
Okay. Last question before we go into the Q&A from the chat. What is one thing that every brand should start doing tomorrow? Pam, go ahead.
I think going back to protecting your shop score and then in product satisfaction the same way that you would your P&L.
Devin?
Say building cadences and also automations to retarget creators. So Cruva is helping you do everything when you're not manually doing it to get on top of creators who aren't posting or who need briefs.
Sophia?
Mine would be very similar. Start building a creator framework and retention strategy. That's where you're going to win.
Jeremy?
Open Claude, put a North Star goal in there, drop your entire strategy and have it audited, and figure out what your next steps and gaps are so you can get there faster.
Amazing. Let's get into some Q&A from the chat. I saw a bunch of different questions. One was around affiliate incentives. We'll read this one first. Do you think affiliates should receive a free product every month, even if the product is a relatively high cost? Or would it make more sense to gift them a product initially and then have them continue promoting it afterwards? So essentially, high cost, should you continue to send free samples to the same affiliate?
I would love to have more information about if it's a consumable product or not. We've run into the same question with BK Beauty because we're not launching um, a lot of products at a time. We're not consumable cosmetics or makeup brushes that are honestly meant to last to a lifetime. And so we've kind of had to get creative with bundling their art, not consumable. I don't really see a benefit in resampling the same product over and over if it's not consumable. You just have to get a little bit more creative with maybe um, retention and retainers and to get them to post over and over and contests if they already have the product. That's my 2 cents.
Agreed. And I think it should be based on what they're driving for the business. So maybe not necessarily the same product again, but if they're doing really great work, then maybe it makes sense to give something that complements the product they already have. I don't know that giving them two is going to 2x the revenue, but giving them an additional product to bundle and buy could.
Mhm.
I think we're going to invent something here. I think everybody should create a creator growth plan, right? So they get the first product and you request more than one video. That's another unlock. Don't just get one video, get 3 or 4, depending on the contract. And then from there, based on their performance, the next 3 to 4 to 6 months should be reflective of the GMV they generate and how you want them to grow. And then that can accelerate into a deeper relationship or peeling back, right? Don't set a standard once a month. Figure out like what you want them to do, and your best creators bubble up to the top and the others go away and you find new ones. But growth plan for everybody.
I really like that. We give our top creators anything they need. So if someone who is converting us really well has maybe need a refill in our foundations, we'll probably give them that refill and every other shade so that they could show, each shade in the video or each shade on a live. This has worked really well for us, but like you guys are also saying, if the creator maybe isn't converting or posting more than once, we wouldn't give them one again.
Yeah, I would say the same. I mean, a lot of our creators have multiple of our brushes. If they're asking for it and they're a top converting creator, we're going to give them whatever they want. It's like, absolutely. Like we were backstage with a creator named Victoria who was on panel before, and she was like, "You guys give me everything I want whenever." And I was like, "Yeah, because you're amazing. And why would we not?" But we're not just sampling to, like, I know TikTok has certain thresholds and numbers they want you to hit with sampling X amount to this many L5 plus creators in a month. And it's like the reality of it is that pool is pretty small, and a lot of those creators in the beauty segment might already have our products. So unless they're directly asking for it, it's hard for us to just continue to resample. It's not a concealer that's consumable.
You awesome. I've been listening from backstage. You guys are dropping knowledge. I don't want you to stop. I feel like I'm interrupting something very important here. But you do have a question in the Q&A. I think we have time for one question. And I think, Sebastian, this is literally the dream question I know you fantasized about getting. Is there like a TikTok shop creator catalog to find profiles easier?
Yes,
Meaning, I have
has
not
been
discovered
solved.
Cruva yet. Yes,
Yeah, we've
amazing.
solved this one. You can go to Cruva.com and you will see all of the creators, everything imaginable, and you can search for them in all of the imaginable ways.
And is this going to be a tedious manual process, Sebastian?
No, and the beautiful thing, Mehdi, is you will be able to automate the outreach to all of these affiliates. You'll be able to find them, automate the outreach, and track all of the results and manage your community all in one place.
So if you guys are not on Cruva, I don't know what you're doing. It's either you hate money or you just want people to know that you don't know what you're doing. Because why wouldn't you want to find the top creators and incentivize them and build a strong relationship with them, have them drive you revenue so that, like Sophia said, they can give you whatever you want. That is the relationship that we dream of having. Sebastian, Sophia, Pamela, Devin, Jeremy, thank you so much. You were dropping straight here for an hour. Please, please, please stick around backstage. You have the most questions so far. I'm talking paragraphs. People are putting in paragraphs. There are a lot of questions in the Q&A as well. Please let people know where they can connect with you. We've gotten a bunch of questions about this. Devin, Sophia, people want to connect with you ASAP. Jeremy, Pamela, Sebastian, likewise, we've gotten a bunch of questions about Adquadrant and Modern AI. Jeremy, I feel like there's so many questions about what you guys do. Hop in, let them know, and thank you so much for joining us again in the Influencer Marketing Summit. This is great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.